Okay, welcome everyone for one more panel session here. Can we do one thing? And hi, Meshe, for joining from New York. Really appreciate your time here. And thank you all. Thank you, Professor Gopal Naikji, Vagreji, and Savita Madam. And thank you for listening into this very important concept and very close to our heart. That meditation is helping us to achieve our dreams, to grow, as much as it helps us to be in a greater well-being and acceptance. There is acceptance and there is growth. Both are essential, and then meditation is this all-round tool. And so here, our focus is to see how it's helping organization leaders, how it's helping in their individual life as well as their communities. Whatever it could be institute, it could be a non-profit, it could be a company, it could be a governmental department, and how it can help them, and then how it's helping them individually. And there are ways that we are all introducing in places. So thank you for joining again. Organizational excellence through meditation. There are several parameters that we studied that there are models that are there, Six Sigma models. There is an European Union having some model about what organizational excellence means. Now, all of them have several parameters. One of them is how much leadership is ready to listen, ready to receive a message for a change in organization. Because a lot of times we're not ready to truly believe in a change. We may say we're not ready to truly believe, we're not in the spirit of it. Of course, one of them is to communicate all the way downstream, as much as an upstream, or communicate all the way downstream. One of them is to take feedback, consistently take feedback, and being able to reform or refine our ideas, refine our programs. So many parameters are there for organizational excellence. Now, can meditation do something about it? And then when we looked at all these parameters, it became very clear that meditation makes individuals transform. They become in spirit. In spirit, they look for feedback. They look to as much as possible, as the growth mindset that Lawrence talked about, they look to as much as possible embrace the change that is coming in. However difficult that may be, that they look to embrace the change. We have seen this because as we are working with many business leaders who are practicing meditation, they didn't have clarity, they didn't have the courage to grow and then start another business, another venture, or go for funding because they were short down of funding in the past. But now they go back with a vigor and enthusiasm, with more openness. And so, of course, if a leader transforms and is able to follow through for those parameters, and organizations must grow. The essence there is an individual to grow. So let's look at a video here. We put together a case study on this organizational excellence and then some of the leaders and how meditation is helping them either individually or community-wise. Can I play the video, please?
Organizations are essentially people who are working together for a particular purpose. In the current world, the purpose of organizations is to become profitable, innovative, and sustainable. Stress, burnout situations, toxic workplace culture, fixed mindsets, and disengaged teams are the most common workplace challenges. While the common practice of such conflict resolution is communication and training, a new age approach for effective results is through meditation. Through meditation, one can rewire the brain to a deeper sense of understanding, fostering resilience, clarity in purpose and intent. It optimizes cognitive functions, leading to enhanced well-being, joy, and success. Fortune 500 companies adopting meditation programs reported a 25% boost in employee productivity. A study published by Sarah W. Laser suggests that long-term meditation increases the gray matter of the brain, linked to emotional regulation and self-awareness. According to regular studies carried out by Buddha CEO, in just 3 weeks of daily practice, 85% of the practitioners are becoming growth-minded and intuitive.
As a corporate leader in a high-pressure environment, Lawrence, a former senior general manager at IBM, observed how meditation helped her to respond to challenges mindfully. It also enabled her to develop significant awareness for better engagement with the customers, peers, and team.
You might be a very senior leader. After more than 30 years in the business, something goes wrong at work, somebody is not happy or there is a problem with a client, and you have two choices. Either you react, which was what I was doing before meditating, or thanks to the meditation, you recognize this emotion coming up to you, and instead of reacting, you respond.
In Hyderabad, Telugu Foods Company grew significantly, led by its CEO, Ramesh Muva, after he took to meditation. His evolution from a traditional CEO to a Buddha CEO unfolds through daily meditation.
Decisions also, which I used to take a few hours and a few days, now it's happening in a few minutes. And they are very appropriate decisions are flowing out of me.
In the entrepreneurial landscape of Bengaluru, India, Lata Srinivasan, founder of a struggling MSME business that was on the verge of closure, turned to meditation and discovered the fortitude to persevere. With daily practice, Lata unlocked new strategies that breathed life into her startup and put it on a growth path again.
A lot of things started to fall in place. Things that if I had a question, for somehow or the other, I would get an answer when I was meditating.
As a technology leader responsible for mission critical systems, Suresh Raur, an executive VP, highlights the profound impact of meditation in maintaining calmness amid chaos and bringing significant clarity during challenging situations.
I remember one particular incident where we had a hospital which had the system down and they needed to get it back in a hurry. And at that point, I had been meditating and I could feel a sense of calmness and clarity in how we worked through that escalation.
In the fast-paced corporate landscape, Dr. Sai Krupa Sagar, a former vice president in an MNC based in Bengaluru, not only experienced a fast-track career growth, but also aligned with his life purpose to do fulfilling meditation service and leads a meditation app company.
I joined as an assistant project manager in 2003 and I got promoted to vice president in the year 2015. So that was around 12 to 13 levels of promotions within a span of 15 years. All those rewards, all those fast-track growth was due to this practice of meditation.
In the quiet realms of Anakapalli, Andhra Pradesh, India, Anil Devta, a dealer of a popular genset company, found the key to his success and fulfillment. For the past 3 years, he has been practicing meditation and introduced it to his staff. Today, Anil is proud of the business growth and the contagious joy among his employees and attributes it all to meditation.
This mindfulness routine has really strengthened our team, making us more coordinated and understanding. It also played a major part in growth of my business.
Chandra Pulamarasetti, the visionary force behind Buddha CEO Quantum Foundation, is a steadfast believer in the transformative power of meditation, drawing inspiration from the teachings of Patriji. His entrepreneurial journey reflects not only the successful acquisition of Sanofi business by IBM Corporation, but also the profound impact that meditation has had on Chandra's leadership philosophy.
My regular practice of meditation, my belief in the quantum field of possibilities and potentials, and my belief that what you think and feel can absolutely manifest, helped me to continue to stay and persevere the whole process of running the company and then pursuing acquisition.
Every CEO should be a Buddha, and only Buddhas can be CEOs. Before you become a CEO, you must know everything about everything. That is the definition. And you will know everything about everything only through meditation.
In the journey of life, where our mind orchestrates our being, meditation acts as a great process to unlock our infinite potential. These case studies have echoed the scientific findings that reveal a positive impact on organizational growth. The widespread adoption of meditation by individuals, communities, and nations will lead to an accelerated achievement of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, as inner transformation takes place in everyone. You can introduce meditation into your organizations and communities with the help of Project Excellence Center and its resolution, including assistance in scientific meditation training. Reach out to us at excellence@buddhaceo.org.
Okay, friends, empowering, and you understand that there is a lot here. That quantum field of infinite potentials, when I heard about this first from Dr. Amit Goswami, I was fascinated. He's written his book called Self-Aware Universe, and introducing that how everything is energy, and then matter, energy becomes matter through our observation, and so the potentials are there if we only are really, really focused about what we want and we can put our attention on it. And we succumb and then we cannot focus on them because so many environmental push and pull is happening constantly with our own fears and pressures. And then meditation, on one side we understand the science, and another side we take to the practice of awareness, and we're easily able to go forward. So let me begin here, and that's been my personal experience. And when I was talking about my company acquisition, I had all kinds of challenges, and I ran this company for 14 years. A normal startup and a tech startup generally goes from 0 to 7 years. You are already scaling, and you probably have somebody acquired, or in your growth path. One of these two will happen. I was dreaming when I lived in Bay Area that I would have my company grow, but then it didn't happen that way. I guess the more I look back and connect the dots, and then recognize that it is something that helped me to shape my patience, perseverance, many aspects that will help me to sort of learn many things during the process, while also contributed to Pyramid Valley International and Meditation Center significantly during that time. But the point was I was able to persevere and then continue to believe and then identify limiting beliefs, reprogram them, many aspects. By the time we got able to get still that acquisition happened. The dream still was able to be, I was able to get the dream done, and it is possible. Many goals we abandon halfway through because we do not believe in that process, neither do not in the process nor that outcome exists always if we believe in. So that's what we learn from quantum physics now. So with that understanding that now we are doing that at Buddhist Quantum Foundation, we never expected that we'll have so much response. In under 4 years, we're able to now, we know that at least 150,000 people globally have deeply transformed. And then many thousands indirectly. We know that, deeply transformed, because we're recently organizing right now a 27th 40-day meditation program, which is a transformation program. So people transform inside out because when you practice for so many days and understand the science. And so, but we never believed, we never thought that it will happen. But however, we're not disbelievers. But then we never thought it can happen that way. We cannot expect how growth can come when we take on the process of meditation. So with that belief, let me start with here, Savita Reddy. Savita, can you please share how your personal journey has been with meditation and how you see it as a CEO, you're running a company. You always tell me that things happen autopilot. How is that happening?
Hello. Yes. So I started my business in the year 2005 after my MBA without any background in business or experience or any help from anyone, because it's like, even today it's like Greek and Latin literally for my family, which is a language training business. So I started this, and then a couple of years I ran, my son was born, and then I had no clue on how to manage, how to grow, and what do I do next, and there were a lot of questions. That's when I started wondering, it's like I wanted to find out why is it that some businesses are so successful, some leaders are able to make it big. There must be something that's helping them. So I had this too many questions, I didn't know whom to ask, and that's when I came across a book. A friend that I was having lunch with introduced me to this book, and that book changed my life. It was an eye-opener, and then from then onwards, no looking back. One book led to another, one person to another person, one class to another, one modality to another. My entire business became a spiritual journey. In fact, I got so excited. It's like every time I would have any kind of a business challenge, I knew there was something bigger in it. I never looked at the problems as problems, but more like what's possible here, more about the possibilities there. I would, in fact, sometimes get excited as in when it's like some problem would come up. What do I create now? What do I change here? And so that the same problem doesn't come back. I would totally forget about the problem. I would start looking at what possibilities lie ahead. So this is how I took every challenge that would come up and would somehow figure out a solution, a creative, innovative solution, and put in a system there so that that problem doesn't repeat. So I mean, back in 2012 itself, a small training organization, we introduced Salesforce. Because at one point in time, we had 3 offices, and one of the center managers disappeared, left, and we didn't know how much of fee was collected, which batches had started, and things like that. That's when somebody said there is a CRM that you can put, and you don't have to even travel to the centers, you can manage it from here. And that's how I introduced. Then after a couple of years, there was one of the center managers who collected a few lakhs of cash from the students, and we don't get to know until the student comes for the exams and the certificate signature comes to us. That's when immediately all cash transactions were stopped. Again, more automation came in place. And without realizing, even before the lockdown happened, the entire business was completely automated, and the business was on the cloud, and there was a very strong LMS system in place, and we started offering online classes, and there were no takers. In fact, we had 2 people working from home, and when the lockdown happened, it was like a perfect opportunity. There was no looking back, not even for a second. When the lockdown was announced the previous day evening, the next day morning, immediately I called both the landlords, and I said, I'm not continuing anymore because we are happy with the online classes, which we have been dreaming for a long time. And that's how the business continued. I mean, that's about 19th year, and I'm happy with the way it's going. And whether it was a GST or a demonetization or the lockdown, nothing affected the business, because I looked at it from a different perspective, not from the perspective of a problem. And this is where that meditation, mindfulness helped me. Immediately after the lockdown, I got introduced to the Buddha CEO programs. I became part of them. I attended all the retreats. And one of the best things that happened to me was I enrolled for their coach program, and early this year, and I became a meditation coach. And I started introducing meditation wherever I went. First, I used to talk to my team about meditation. I mean, I used to motivate them, inspire them. But formally teaching meditation happened this year. And as I taught them meditation, a lot of things changed. People who had left me came back and said, the kind of support and mentoring we receive here, we want to continue working here. And I started talking about it in all my business meetings. Till then, it was, I mean, business was separate, my personal practice was separate, but then, I mean, now it doesn't matter. It's like all my business conversations, sooner or later move into a meditational this thing. And I started noticing a lot of business opportunities started opening up. The kind of connect that I had with people, whoever it was, whether it was the directors or deans of big institutions, corporates, it didn't matter. A lot of business opportunities started opening up. In fact, just a couple of days back, we are talking to one of the largest car manufacturing plants here in Bangalore for training their assembly floor people in English language training. And the feedback they told me is the kind of confidence that we have got here, we have not got it anywhere, so we would like to work with you. So this is how it's been helping, and I'm happy with whatever is happening.
Right. So meditation bringing more opportunity while you're more joyful in sharing what you're learning. We'll come back to you, how it shaped your personality a little later. Raj, how about you? What's your personal journey with meditation?
I want to talk about 4 inflection points, Chandra, right, in my life, in my journey, right? This is way back in 91. I was doing my master's in BIT Mesra, and I had my first panic attack. Yeah. How many of you know what a panic attack is? Some of you have heard about it. Yeah. It is something I'll not even wish on my, enemy. It's one of the worst things that anybody can go through. Yeah. So 91, there was not much information. I was about 1,500 kilometers away from my home. And this thing happens. And, the journey, it continued for almost 10 years, 91 to almost 2000, till I stumbled upon the Art of Living program. Yeah. I passed out of the college, I got great jobs. I started my career with Texas Instruments out here in Bangalore, worked with a great company called LEC India Software Center, right? So there were great times, but at the same time, my mind was messed up. Yeah. I will choke every time I talk about it. I choke. So bear with me for a second. So in a nondescript apartment in Chennai, I had joined Cognizant. I found Art of Living. The first Kriya, the first meditation I did, the first Sudarshan Kriya experience was literally, transforming in some sense. So I used to come home and tell my wife, look, the teacher who was teaching was a very young kid. She was, younger than me. And I would tell Meena, she's here. that there was something very mystical in her eyes, you know. And I met Guruji here. It was the same experience, same love, same kindness, same compassion. And, that is where my journey started from, really, right? 10 years of intense, personal struggle, right? That kind of melted away with the practice of Kriya. Yeah. So that was my first, from a health perspective, that was the first inflection point, right? And my career was there, things were going good, usual stuff, it was a rapid pace industry, things were growing and so on. But my mind was messed up. The Kriya and the meditation kind of, it wiped the dust clean, in some sense, yeah. So that was the first thing.
Mike.
Okay, not able to hear me? Okay. So that was the first inflection point, yeah. And it affected me so much that, I took a break from the company, I took a break from the industry, started teaching the programs, yeah. And then came back again to the industry, worked for another 4 or 5 years. And then, the next company that I was working with, there was a reorg that happened. I moved out, And then I tried to find job, I wouldn't get one, right? By that time, the hair had become white. So you know how it is with the industry, right? And then I started my own entrepreneurial journey. It was tough, right? So there was no income. My in-laws moved in. So 2 families to take care of, literally no income. There were investments, and the investments were not paying. So it was really, really tough, yeah? And the third thing, the third inflection point really was, about a year back, there was a crisis in the family. Very severe health crisis for one of the family members. And again, life was like this, really. In all these things, what really kept me grounded, what really kept me, strong, I will say, was really the practices, right? For me, sadhana was something which is non-negotiable, right? However much the ocean boiled around me, yeah, there was this drops of calmness, right, which the practices brought, yeah. So I joined IAC. I worked with a foundation, a non-profit organization called Foundation for Science Innovation Development. Again, all these practices, whatever I've done, kind of helped me take those things and implement it in my, corporate life, both as, while I was working as well as right now here at FSID. When I came and joined, we were hardly 10 startups, 12 startups maybe. Today we are 110. About 20 of them have raised significant amount of capital. Valuation is more than 2,000 crores. And we work with a very, very lean team. NSR Cell, out here probably has about 100 people. We are about 4, right? Don't want to compare, but I'm just giving this thing. The ability that the meditation gives, the ability that these practices give you, both to stay rooted in your, to build strength, to build resilience, whatever else that you may want to call it. But there is something unshakable that develops within you that, whatever life throws at you, you're able to take it, absorb it, and then transform it. So I'll stop here, and then if there's something else, I'll come and...
Sure. Thank you. That's wonderful to know. Resilience, I think, that's fundamentally what we take from your experience. Meditation keeps building that resilience, and especially if you are leaders. When challenges come, if we also just panic, and that's where the end of that organization, typically that division or whatever. I think that strength to face through the lives. So thank you for personal sharing here. And then let me go to Meshe. So thank you for joining. Could you like to share a little bit of your experience with meditation, how it's helping you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Well, as you heard Laurence say, we started together that journey about bringing meditation to our workplace. But for me, the journey started earlier than that. By practicing meditation from a personal standpoint, I really wanted to center myself. I became a mother, and it was a huge blessing for me. So I decided that I really wanted to be on that space where my mind could be at its best. So that's the reason why I started meditating. over 20 years ago. And it's really brought me to a place where I feel I am honoring who I am. I'm allowing myself to have the space to be me, to find a place where my mind is at peace for many things. And, and as I started embarking on that journey, I saw the value in bringing that to other people. That's where the work that we started at IBM with the mindfulness community kicked off. But life has taken me to many places, and now I'm working in a place where I actually lead talent and learning. As you can see from my background, we're actually in the season of growth and development in my company. And what I do is I actually craft our leadership development journeys for different levels in this organization. And what I can tell you is that it really has opened doors. That's how I would sort of very practically link meditation to an outcome. It's because of opening doors, and the doors that you decide to open will be your decision. It could be in the personal space, it could be on the professional space. What I've seen as we've embarked in this journey with leaders is, and the way we framed it is, the opportunity of meditating will allow you to help your teams thrive. As a leader, you have a role to play to really help your teams and yourself thrive. So how can you do that? And as we all know, everything starts with you. So we start with allowing them to have a mirror and see where they are. Different companies manage this differently, but we have self-assessment and a lot of tools for feedback for 360. But who are you? Where you are today? And where do you want to go? So including meditation as part of that journey has really opened a lot of doors. It has allowed for them to be at the right place, to understand, to listen better, to be open for feedback, which is another key element of that leader that wants to embrace growth with a growth mindset. So for me, meditation opens those doors, the doors to listening, the doors for feedback, the doors to be a better self, and to help others thrive. And they really take it personally and professionally. So I consider giving meditation to more people a gift. It's a gift to open those doors, to be able to open them. And the beauty of everything is you can do it anywhere. It is free. You just need to focus on your breath. So that has been my experience, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Mrs. That's great. Opening doors, I think we briefly heard from Savita. It brings so many opportunities, so many ways that you start exploring. Suddenly people come into your life. Suddenly your business situations will change. A new opportunity will come. You thought that this is best, but something else will come, but you'll be able to embrace it. That openness is essential to be able to look at new opportunities. And then meditation builds us to be open, not conclude things unnecessarily. We are doing an appraisal. So we finish an appraisal, we'll conclude about somebody, but the next moment that's forgotten, so that you are again ready to see the best from that person. The moment you have a branding on that person, then you don't get anything from that person. So everything in meditation is keeping us open, so that automatically we're able to receive new opportunities and dimensions. So that's one. I think we take from you, the second one, you said leaders started getting to know who they are truly. And our subconscious programs are so many, none of us want to accept that we are that. For example, when Lawrence said one small thing, when a young woman is applying for a job, which is probably a global traveling job, that unconscious bias is in our minds. Oh, okay, with young children, young person may not have experience, I don't think I want to give this to her. That bias is not even known to us until we actually look into deeply to say, yes, this is a bias. Why we don't know? Because everybody thinks that way. Oh, with young children and a young woman, so what can she do? It will all be probably difficult for her. We think we are sympathizing or empathizing, but we're actually putting other person with a bias away. So these are those things that we don't even know that meditation helps us to reflect upon, because it is looking us into the subconscious as it drops the analytical mind. So with this understanding, and here we have an esteemed speaker, sir, the public policy, heading public policy. Our wish is to take meditation into the policy. I'm connecting policy to policy, nothing beyond, right? And in your personal experience, how meditation may be helping, and then if you have seen any organizations carry this forward to grow or to get better.
Thanks for this opportunity. I just want to qualify, my opinions as not as a regular meditation practitioner. Though I did meditation some time back, especially during my student life, that was long back, after especially reading the book Autobiography of Yogi. So for quite some time I did practice regularly. Nowadays it has been basically whenever I visit some places like Aurobindo Ashram or Art of Living and so on, I do practice a little bit, but not really a regular practitioner. But what I can recall from my meditation years and maybe thereafterwards is basically it sort of helps you a lot in terms of one is calmness. I think you can really see the the kind of calmness you can actually have in all kinds of situations, so ups and downs and so on. Often you may have difficulties, but that it sort of helps you to get over with that. And of course, I had many administrative positions. Generally, you do get several situations where you are put in a very difficult situation. But in all those, I think my meditation practice, maybe the previous year's meditation practice, has sort of helped me to sort of, bring calmness and think through and sort of say that, what is the purpose of life and what am I supposed to do and so on, and therefore able to address those situations. So that's a sort of introduction that I want to give from my personal life. But the other aspect is we have a postgraduate program in public policy and management. Here we ran it for about, of course we are still running, it's about 20 batches. There we get civil service officers and mostly government officials as students. And it's basically a 2-year program. Of course, the duration also changed several times and so on, but basically a long duration program here, a master's equivalent program. In that, one of the components that we had kept regularly was yoga and meditation. So we used to send them to Art of Living here, and we could see the changes in them by staying over here on campus, which was also for them, it was more like an ashram, as well as having yoga meditation here. It really influenced them a lot, and they would always remember this. Of course, remember the course, as well as remember the yoga meditation, and some of them actually now will visit the Art of Living ashram regularly. So it essentially helps in changing the way the policymakers actually think about a particular problem. And of course, nowadays, if you look at the public policy, it has become very complex. Complexity is very high because of the diversity of our country itself. Partly It's also because of the poverty. It's also because of maybe over a period of time we have not done effective policies and so on. So the policies have become, it has grown and become more complex to address. So in such situations, what it really needs is, a calm mind. Somebody who can actually think through these problems clearly, who can actually think through the implications of individual policies, both in terms of short and long duration. What will happen in the longer duration when I undertake this policy, because today, if you look at many of the policies that that has been implemented, in the long run we see that there are lots of problems being created because of this. So therefore, somebody who can actually clearly think through both short run, long run, its secondary effects, not only the immediate effect, but also what are the other effects it has on the society and so on. So therefore, it needs a huge capacity to think about the implications of these policies on the society. So I think that kind of a capability is probably can be built through meditation. I think that's what I believe in, that if the policymakers also go through the meditation practice regularly, they should be able to develop these capabilities, mindfulness and empathy, critical thinking, whatever is required for a good policy making. I'm sure it will be really useful.
That's wonderful, sir. I think two aspects I take from here before I give to Meshe as you need to leave. You said already meditation is there for the lawmakers who are coming, not lawmakers, they're officers here who are coming as students. I think it's really, really commendable. The right program there which can inculcate as a habit for them, I think is great for them. So hopefully they're practicing after they go back. We don't know if you have policy program to check if they're practicing or not. But anything that makes it a habit, and we normally say that 6 weeks is the minimum required time for meditation to be a habit. And then it is there in most cases. And so that could be helpful. But the second thing that you said, something that I'll just comment on, let me just first give Meshe to give any message in terms of how you see meditation being introduced at a policy level or in organizationally. What are the ways that you feel that that it can be introduced more effectively, more rapid, for more rapid adoption?
Well, thank you, Chandra. For me, what I would say, the important thing is the KPIs, the metrics. And I think that should always be the factor that puts things in perspective. Because, one of the exercises that I did here to start really getting the buy-in of our leaders is, what is the outcome? What do we want to do? And I will tell you, we've done tons of interviews and surveys. I partner with different organizations to learn about what they do. They all tell me they want to change a behavior. And there's only one way of changing behavior, which is helping them with a tool that allows them to bring that change to life. Just as when we go to the gym, okay, you want to really be good at something and you're lifting something or get stronger. There's a path for that, and there's some tools for that. And I actually feel that as we ingrain with this mindset of tooling, we have to think about meditation being one of those tools. And there's been various elements to allow that behavior to change. And I think, first of all, I think there's more openness that they're used to. I think the pandemic allowed people to be in a place to not only understand what's needed, but also to be way more comfortable in their self-awareness. I hear now leaders talk about a more compassionate leadership, a more servant leadership. I will tell you, 5 years ago, those words not were even in the dictionary of leadership. So it's how can we allow that leadership transformation become part of what we need as a company, as a country. So I can see that putting some metrics to that will allow to have that conversation with the institutions, governments, policymakers, because that's a key hardcore component. And I will tell you, even Laurence mentioned, no? People would say at the beginning, oh, I need to go to the Himalayas to become somebody. And that is not true. And when you start putting those metrics, when you start showing the impact in productivity, the impact in driving teams to a better place, for engagement, recognition, appreciation, all those components become part of what the company, the countries, people need. So I would say that would be my recommendation. Those are the key hard components that can help people open their eyes and say, oh, this sounds interesting. Oh, we better pay attention to this, because then the other side, what if we don't do it? What happens if we don't do it? And that, I think, can allow people to open the door for those conversations.
Thank you, Meshe, for very clearly articulating that.
Sure, no, my pleasure, and thank you for the invitation. It's always refreshing to hear from others, to see how your commitment, dedication to amplifying this wonderful practice. These regional conferences bring so much, not because of only the number of people that come together, but because of the power of being together, driving something. So I commend you for that. I think that's a wonderful mission in life. So thank you, Chandra. And thanks to all the team behind this, Rakesh, Anil, everybody that made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Certainly take that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me just have just one quick question to each of you to come back and conclude on this. So far, we heard from your resilience. We've heard from you a lot of opportunities, and I think we can correlate and say opens doors. Of course, she talked about behavioral change. An organization fundamentally want a behavioral change, and meditation is the way to look at yourself to change. And then, of course, sir, you talked about clarity. You believe that meditation gives so much clarity, that vision and clarity for people to be more heart-centered in defining policies. And so these are aspects that we all believe in meditation is perhaps bringing, and everything is very important. So Raj, in your view, meditation, and since you're working with incubation centers, what are you doing, if you are doing, are your plans to introduce it to those incubation centers and otherwise in your field of influence?
Okay, good you asked that question. Tried, didn't work. Yeah. So we brought in one-to-one-help.net as a mentor, counseling agency, and that's really funny. Very simple for me, right? I think the reason why we brought this was there was an incident where somebody was probably really from a health perspective was really had to be hospitalized and so on. And our idea was startups should not die in incubation center. Much the same way, founders should not, their mental well-being should not be affected in the incubation center, right? So we brought in a personal, a professional organization to provide counseling services and so on. But I'm hoping over the period of time, things will change in this country. Sure, a lot of organizations do adopt meditation and yoga and so on, but it needs to go much further, right? Each one of you who are here, who have benefited from this, needs to talk. How do you impact policy? You need to talk, right? It has impacted your life, you need to tell people. Yeah? If we don't do that, we are doing a disservice to all the practices that we have learned and to this, this huge culture that we have in this country of, yoga, pranayam, dharana, dhyana, and so on.
Please reinitiate those attempts with the meditation programs that we're doing, very, very scientific in nature, so that people are able to see the benefit.
Yes.
There is a stat that 5 days if you're away physically to a place, that's why you go to the ashrams or some place. And if you take, and if you reflect upon any knowledge, any technology, in 5 days, our brain changes enough that we come out as a new person with a new skill in that invariably. So is the case with meditation.
Unfortunately, Chandra, in this country, I think for a whole lot of people, everything has to come back from the West, right? The adaptation, the acceptance become easier if the person who is speaking has a different color of skin than you and I speaking. Yeah, that's my experience, but I've laid out very clearly. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to get into controversy, but I'm just stating that.
All right. Yes, Savita.
Right. From my experience, I mean, of late I've been teaching or introducing meditation in a lot of institutions, especially colleges and corporates. And the more I connect with people and talk to them, I notice that whether they're the students, faculty, or the heads of the organization, everyone is looking for an answer. Everyone is has questions. And the more we share, they're interested. And when they get to know about the scientific or the meditation, what exactly meditation means is something which not everyone is aware of. So I would suggest that first we all practice, understand this, and introduce it in our organizations. When I introduced it in my organization, I saw a lot of changes in the people, in the team, and not just in my organization, also the partner organizations. So I would suggest that all the colleges or the corporates, like Professor Dr. Anuradha was saying, 5 minutes of meditation just before starting the class. Just make it a habit. Every day, 5 minutes of meditation. The learning outcomes in the students can be changed. Even in the corporates, like the way we started here with a 3-minute meditation. We do that in our daily sales meetings, 15 minutes of meditation. If not 15 minutes, 5 minutes or 3 minutes, it makes a huge difference. And of late, I've also started writing about this in my social media and sharing it wherever I go. And people are connecting back and are interested to introduce it. So,
thank you. So a lot of ways that we can take cues there from you and Professor Gopal Naik.
Yeah, of course. Know in our public policy program, we already have this component. I think one thing that we should also do is look at schools. Should we, put our efforts in introducing it in schools itself? We are doing some work with a few schools in the Tumkur district, where we got help of an NGO to build life skills. And there, one of the things that we are, one component is basically yoga and meditation. So I think it is helping students, and as they grow up, I'm sure, if they continue to practice, I'm sure they will see the benefit out of it. So I think we need to see how we can actually introduce this in schools, especially the rural area schools, where I think the benefits of the meditation can be can be seen probably better among the rural people.
That's great. Thank you very much for all of us to be identifying laying out some areas. Recently, one of the masters who practicing meditation, she's of course a very successful person in the company. She said, I would like to give this to my children, and they're not taking it. I said, what are the words you used? They're not taking it, and how much emotion you put into it. They're not taking it, and how much that is the emotion you're putting into it. I said, when did you last tell them about this? About 4 months ago when I came in, I talked about it, and the second I talked about it, third day, and then they said, Mama, you want to do, you do, I'm not taking it, I don't want it. I said, 4 months, you didn't even talk about this to your son again. And on top of it, you're telling me and then probably anybody else that they're not taking it. And if you tell that, and then if observation creates reality, that's exactly what you create. You don't even go back because we're not open when they push back and say, okay, now it doesn't work, and so immediately don't even go forward and then retry it. And she realized it immediately, and most of the time I noticed that this is what happens. We introduce in a corporates, and then we of course do a lot, and then we go there, one person comes. But I ran this like that in IBM when I was there. Every Monday I used to go there and sit in a conference room. Sometimes only I was there. Sometimes the support staff was there because the engineers wouldn't come. My own team members whom I hired. But still we perceived, we continued. Then second, 2 people came, 3 people came, 4 people came, because we want the critical mass. So the first thing that I've noticed, and we all, most of the time have seen, is that when we get a rejection, and then we conclude and say they're not going to be ready. It's not for them, it's somebody else. But we will not even make an attempt. On top of it, we talk about it as not happening, dear friends. That's not being open. Openness is that we continue to try. The quantum field is saying unlimited possibility. That means even if I go to, let's say, Justice Gowdaji, he probably will say, I'm busy. Then does it mean the second time I'll go and he's busy? Does it mean that then he's busy forever? Probably not. We're going to try a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time. We keep pursuing, and then it's going to happen, because the concept with meditation we understand is that every possibility exists. Unlimited possibility field, so every possibility exists. The possibility is defined by us, not somebody else. Whatever is the outcome that we want is what we can create it. And here I see Meenakshi madam. The madam has done multiple degrees. She is traveling. She has choreographed with so many children for a song for Prime Minister, but come from a rural background somewhere in Andhra Pradesh and still able to do many things because she pursues. She believes in it. And so we try this. So that's the first thing that I feel, especially in corporates, that we introduce but we back off. We can go back and redo it again, and then invariably, if our thoughts are positive, and we're able to change that. And Jagdish said, you've seen that. I think in organizations, especially in IBM, we've seen it. There are so many larger organizations, opportunities are there. For example, you have diversity meetings, you have inclusion meetings, you have lunch bags, you have quarterly calls. All of them are opportunities to just talk about meditation and say 5 minutes of meditation. Everything is an opportunity. We utilized everything like that. In my strategy calls, quarterly strategy meetings that are there, always half an hour meditation, every VPs and directors we used to do. Of course, some people won't want to do it, it's okay. But at least we have half the room doing it, then you have a critical mass for it. And then we know, always it's with critical mass that we make a change. So thank you very much, dear friends, that we talked about organization excellence, and then predominantly starts with individual excellence. And then if the leader changes, and the leader is open to innovation, open to receiving feedback, and then looking for change, automatic things do happen. And meditation is bringing that. Sir, I have literature to point to you about how meditation brings tremendous amount of clarity, because when we open to exploring infinite possibility, we drop a lot of times when we set policies, it's all within what we know. Everything is based on what we know. But meditation clears our mind to make it empty, so suddenly we are open to an unlimited information and knowledge. In Vedas, it's called Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma means the Brahma is infinite knowledge and space. And so when we drop our mind, that limited mind that we think that I know it all, so I'm setting a policy. When you drop that mind in meditation, then we're open to accessing unlimited amount of information that is right for that situation that we are planning to do, if we are genuinely interested in setting the policy. So there are many ways it can help in setting great policies. There is a lot of science here. So we'll talk that some other day in some other conference. So thank you very much for joining once again. We will move on to the next program.